We're up to our second interview with Jason Scheff. Generation Radio is the brand new band, and we'll be talking about it in almost every clip in this series. There is links in the description where you can pick it up. In this clip, we asked Jason Scheff how he joined Chicago. Remember, we're trying to raise funds right now to help build a new computer, and so far you've raised half the funds. Thank you. There's links to PayPal in the description and links to our Patreon for a lot of extra bonus stuff. Here's Jason Scheff. It's kind of crazy the way that you ended up being in, we'll come back to the songs in a second, but the fact that you thought in the beginning you were possibly writing songs for a Peter Cetera album. Tell us, share that story. That is like I heard you say that on the cruise, and I'm going, that's uncanny how that happened.
Okay. A good buddy of mine I grew up in San Diego with named Aaron Zigman came to LA to go to school. I don't even know what he was studying at UCLA, but he was bitten by the music bug, and he'd hire my bands down in San Diego. Some of my first recording sessions were with Aaron. He came up to LA, hired my bands, Tom and John Keane. Tom co-wrote Will You Still Love Me? They were the Keane brothers, true child prodigies. They showed me that, yeah, you've got some stuff, but this is real genius, bona fide child prodigy stuff. These kids, they were tight with David Foster too. So all these things are coming together when I moved to LA. And Aaron got a publishing deal with Alamo Irving. They start putting him with Alan Gorey of Average White Band, Steve Cropper, Bobby Caldwell. That's how I met Bobby Caldwell, Jeffrey Osborne, Paul Williams, and I'm Aaron's sidekick, because we're kind of starting to write songs. I was not writing songs as an artist, going, I got to express my heart. I was just doing what every musician in LA was doing. I got to start writing, or let's write, man. I go, okay, I'm a writer. But I get with these guys, and it was natural for me. Chord structure and melody was always real natural for me. Lyrics, no, you got to develop that, but some innate music stuff coming to you. So Aaron and I were writing with all these guys. Bobby Caldwell, I'm a massive fan of What You Won't Do for Love. Bobby had just come back to LA to go for his second round of success. And I remember thinking, I got to get Bobby's attention. So I'm house sitting at Tony Bronigal's house, who was playing drums for Bonnie Raitt at the time. And I sat down at his piano and I said, I got to get Bobby's attention. What would Bobby sing? And I start coming up with these chord changes and melody. And I took it to him, and we were kind of sitting around watching TV, and I was like really timid. And I said, I started an idea, man, that, thinking of you probably don't want to hear it right now. And I love us artists and people in this world where the muse always wins. He turns the TV off and goes, let's hear it. And I play him my melody and changes for this verse and B section. And he flipped out, goes, what is that? And he pushes me to the side and goes immediately into the key change to the chorus of Heart of Mine.
Oh my God.
Okay. And we knew we had a racehorse, man. We got as far as we could with it and then put it down. Typical LA. That's what I learned in Nashville. They finished there. We let this thing sit for like a year and a half. The transition chords going from the B section into the chorus, which are absolutely brilliant, we didn't have. We just had, okay, it goes into this chorus. Dennis McCoskey, who wrote Maniac and a lot of big country hits, came up with these key changes. And I'll never understand the reasons why. Those chord changes, we heard that, which is like the part that just, I don't care who you are, the biggest songwriters in the world, Jeffrey Steele, when I did this at a songwriter in the round with him, and he heard this and he goes, is that yours? All of a sudden, the respect level. So we hadn't finished the song. We had the music and the first verse lyrics. I go into Ronnie Vance was the great publisher, was partnered up with a lady named Kathleen Carey, an iconic publisher. And Ronnie, I was over at Dennis McCoskey's house, and he said, what are you doing? or Ronnie called him and says, what are you doing? He goes, I'm working with Jason Scheff. And Ronnie had heard of me. He says, put him on the phone. And I had just gotten my first cut with Aaron, Carly Simon, and cut one of our songs, the first song that got cut. I get on the phone with Ronnie and he goes, what are you doing? And I said, we're just, writing some music. And I got my first, cut with Carly Simon. He goes, come in and let's take a meeting. I go in and meet with him. He says, so tell me what's going on. And I told him, and then he says, who's got the publishing on this? And I told him it was Bobby's manager who was going to help me. And he goes, Jason, stop giving your songs away. Here's the way it works. If you have some stuff in the pipeline, I can take it to Kathleen and say, let's sign this guy. But he goes, why do you want a publishing deal? And I said, the reason I want a publishing deal is I want to be able to go in the studio and record anytime I want and not have to depend on my buddies who have publishing. Because before then, the gear wasn't there. We're like 3 or 4 years away from home recording systems. You had to go into a studio, which cost money. So I told him, I want to be able to go in anytime I want, play all the instruments if I want, and not have to depend on anybody. He goes, tell you what, I'll give you some studio. You want to go in the studio? I'll give you 2 days at MCA Whitney, no strings attached. I won't even take the publishing. I didn't realize he was testing me, And so I go, okay. So
testing you. Sorry, testing. What do you mean by testing you?
To see what I'd come up with an opportunity.
Okay.
Right? So I go home and I'm just an idiot that's so irresponsible and, and smoking too much weed. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna say it, So I go home and I talk to a friend of mine. He says, what are you doing? And I said, I'm going to go in and just kind of goof around with at MCA Whitney. And it's so funny how impressionable you can be. And the guy responds, oh, yeah, that's that old gospel studio in Glendale. So I'm thinking it's like a rundown, not real place, right? That old gospel studio. Well, okay. And I'm telling you, John, leading up to the night before, I'm just not really taking it seriously because Ronnie's like, I'm thinking of it in his mind. In my mind, I'm remembering him kind of going, I'll just give you some studio time. And I'm going, okay, I'm just going to goof around, just myself. And I walk in the door and see that it's Neve. You talk about Studer 24-track Neve. It's a real studio. And
the buttons are moving by themselves.
Dude. So I'm like looking at this place and I go, you better pull a rabbit out of your head. I said, what do I have? I said, let me cut Heart of Mine. So I had this stupid little beat, that drum, program that I was trying to write some ballad idea the night before and it was just stupid. So I'm like, but I put that little beat down and I started the piano part for Heart of Mine, put a bass down, put some weird little guitar part, down, sang the first verse, went into the chorus, sang the second verse, same as the first, same lyrics. I called Bobby afterwards and I said, I didn't know what the protocol was. I said, I hope you're not mad, but I went into the studio and I cut Heart of Mine. And he goes, really? Do you like it? And I said, yeah, man. He goes, bring it over here. Took it to his house and he flipped out. He goes, this is incredible. He said, we're going to stay up and finish the lyric tonight. We'll get on the phone with Dennis and then we're going to go in tomorrow and I'm going to produce your vocal and I'll sing background vocals on it. I said, okay. We stayed up, finished the lyric with Dennis, went in the next day, cut the vocal. Bobby's doing backgrounds with me. I go in and take a meeting with Kathleen and Ronnie. And Ronnie's kind of sitting there. The tone of his voice, I can hear it like it was yesterday. He knew I didn't have anything. You could just tell the thing. He goes, so did you get anything? And I go, yeah. And he goes, really? Do you like it? And I said, yeah, I kind of think, give it to me. Give me. So I take the cassette. I put it, he puts it in the player. They start the song and Kathleen closes her eyes And I watched somebody take music in more deeply than I'd ever seen in my life. This woman, and this song is playing, and she opens her eyes at the end of the song and looks over at Ronnie and says, "We've got to sign this guy right now." And he's going, he wasn't expecting, he goes, "Wait a minute, don't you want to go on your vacation?" She was going to go on a vacation. And she says, no. Jason, get a music attorney. We're signing him right now. All of a sudden, boom, this thing starts getting in motion. I signed this publishing deal. And again, when Ronnie asked why I wanted a publishing deal, yeah, I wanted to be autonomous to be able to go on, but I also wanted someone to talk about me, because Aaron, when he went with Almo Irving, they were, especially when we were working together, they were like, they got us with Carol Childs, Steve Cropper. We wrote some tunes and went into the studio with Cropper, who I'm still really tight with, as like the next, they were calling us the next Hall & Oates. Not anywhere near that, but they were pushing. So I said, I want someone to talk about me. I get this publishing deal. I write a couple more songs. She gets a phone call one day from Michael Austin at Warner Brothers Records saying, "Do you have any songs for Peter Cetera's solo album and or someone to write with him?" And she says, "Well, we just signed this new kid. Let me send you his 3 songs in the catalog." They send the songs over. They get a phone call the next day from Michael's assistant saying, "Who's singing on the demos?" And they said, "The writer is Jason." They said, "Thank you," hung the phone up. Kathleen calls me and said, "Something's going on. I don't know what it is, but I can feel it. Something's going on. Get ready." And I'm going, "For what? Get ready for what?" She goes, "I don't know, but it's something's happening here." What happened, John, was that the tape got in. He had gotten through, I guess it was either Heart of Mine or Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now, which was on that original demo of mine. And as the story goes, Michael shut the tape off and called Lenny Waronker upstairs and says, "You got to come downstairs." He goes, "I know we're looking for Peter's solo record, but I think maybe we found the guy that we need in Chicago," because they had both acts, right? Lenny comes down and goes, "Wow." The tape got to Foster, the band, Howard Kaufman, management, and a week later, I get this phone call saying, "We think you're the new lead vocalist of Chicago." Yeah. And I'm like, and what had happened, Champlin and I were friends. He had no idea that I sang, because I really didn't. I was in Carmen Grillo's band and Bill was playing in it, and people that knew I sang, said, why aren't you doing background vocals?" I'm not singing next to Bill Champlin. He had no idea. He was like, "What?" I mean, he's a funny guy. We had a lot of fun playing with, and he was just as surprised as anybody. Foster, we had known each other because he knew my father, but they had no idea. So this thing started, and then the best part was we all got in and started writing songs together. Champlin and I, Panko, Lamb.
What was that? Hope you enjoyed that. If you want to support the channel even more, there's links to Patreon and PayPal in the description, and links to Generation Radio, the new Jason Scheff project, and there'll be details on how you can pick it up. I'm John Beaudin. Make sure you share our videos. If you're a member of a group which talks about Jason or Chicago, please share these videos on there. Comment on them, like our video, subscribe to our channel, and we'd appreciate that. More from Jason Scheff in the next few days. I'm John Beaudin from Rock History Music.